Yeah, recording started.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the DRS Real Estate Club. So, for this week's Zoom meeting, I wanted to discuss a very interesting topic known as the customer is always right. So, in regards to this, in many businesses, you will have a problem and you need to have a solution. You go to the store, you want to buy a chocolate bar, you pay $1, great. If you say it was marked down to 88 cents, then the owner should probably honor the fact that it said 88 cents, even if it was listed for $1. There are sometimes circumstances in real estate, or I remember hearing there was a radio ad in China where a car was priced with 2 zeros missing. Maybe it was something of that nature. And everyone started buying it and buying it and buying it. And there's nothing that they can do. They had to give that car for that price. So the customer is always right. So I want to share two stories in real estate that happened not too long ago. One was recent, so I'll share the recent story. I have an exclusive rental in Cedarhurst, and what happened was it was put on our MLS server. I had an exclusive that was signed by the landlord, by the owner, that stated that we can put up a sign that we have a 3-month exclusive, which means anyone who comes to that apartment who ends up, renting it out, we must get a fee from them. Whether it was the landlord who brought that person or it was another broker who brought that person, we need to get paid for that. That's what an exclusive is, that we get all rights to that commission. So there was a problem. A few days after the sign went up, the landlord's partner said, "Why is it on MLS? It should not be listed on the MLS." And the partner calls me and says, "Hey, I thought we agreed that it's not going to be on MLS." And I said, "That's not what you signed." And she said, but we need to have it off MLS. I happened to have my broker in the car with me at that time. We were going to check out a luxury condo in Far Rockaway and office space in Woodmere. And I was, in a difficult situation. Number one, in order to have a sign up, it must be on the MLS, which means you take away one, you need to take away the other. And I want to have a sign up. We paid money for the signage company to install that sign, and we get calls from that sign, and our business gets seen from that sign. It's a great, excellent form of advertising. So I said, listen, I need to speak with my broker and see what we can do about MLS, but this is what we agree. But no, we didn't agree to that. Regardless, if you sign the dotted line, that means you read and understood the terms upon which you're signing. But at the end of the day, is it a matter of wrong and right? It doesn't matter. The customer is always right. So I want to get future business with this customer, and I want to piss her off. So what I told her was, let me speak with my broker, and as soon as I get back to the office today, I'm going to take it off of MLS. And when it's on MLS, I can have a sign up, but once I take it off of MLS, I'm going to have to take down that sign. So we were able to withdraw it, which is no longer active. And the signage company will take it down within the next week or two. So the second I texted her and I said, hey, I was able to take it off of MLS. I'm sorry for any inconvenience. She was so happy. She continued to work with me. She continued to be in touch with me. I didn't lose the client. I didn't piss off the client. And I'm probably going to get future business from her because she has several other locations that are much bigger properties. And I didn't want to, destroy the bridge that I'm trying to create with this landlord. So the customer is always right. So that's story number one. Story number two actually happened in my first 2 months as a licensed real estate agent. I got an incredible exclusive listing. It was right off of Atlantic Beach Bridge. It was a building there that had luxury suites. So I had 1 suite, 2 suites, 3 or maybe 4 suites that were available for lease, and I got the exclusive on all of them. I went there, I did drone footage of the property, of that area, showed off the location. I did photography of each of the rooms in the entire building. And we started spending money on Facebook ads. We put it in the newspaper, and we advertise in all social media platforms. So on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook groups, an email. And what happened was, in the first week or two, I showed it to several people. And then the landlord calls and he says, yo, MJ, I need you to take it down. I'm really, really sorry. And I'm like, but we had an agreement and we've started spending money on the marketing. And he said, I know we're going to reimburse you for the marketing costs. I need you to take it down because it may be a legal issue for us. So I immediately jump. I don't want my landlord that I'm working with, this customer, to get in trouble, because that's the last thing that I would want to do. So I said, okay, I'm removing it from all the social media platforms. I'm going to take it out of the newspaper. I'm going to take it off of MLS. I am sorry for any inconvenience. He's like, no, you did not do anything wrong. And we're going to fully reimburse you for the marketing, which they did. So he explained it to me like this. He says, MJ, let me explain. One of our tenants is a real estate broker. And in their lease that they gave us for the space, they put in, if any units become available for lease, we get the rights to rent it out. Think about that for a second. I want you guys to digest that for a second. So they put in the lease to the landlord, if you have any vacancies, you cannot use an outside brokerage. You must give it to us. And that broker saw that I was advertising and was like, what the heck, Mr. Landlord? You agreed to a lease with us that anything that becomes vacant, we get to lease out for you. And you're going to pay us when we bring you a tenant. So they felt kind of stupid and really apologized, and they paid us for the marketing costs, and really, we're really sorry. I kept in touch, a little bit back and forth. Several months later, I was in touch with them again about a different property. And they said, you know what? We see that you're hustling. We see that you're doing good work. We have a rental. And this rental, a residential rental, not commercial space, this residential rental is not doing too well. We gave it to a broker. She's not getting us any tenants. She's not getting anyone to even check it out. We don't think she's doing a good job. We see that you're an aggressive guy and you're going to push it and push it and push it. We want to give you the exclusive. And I said, That sounds great. When can I have a sign up? They said you can have a sign up as soon as possible. We'll do a 90-day exclusive with you. Let's make it happen. So to give you an idea, the 3 commercial leases, those office spaces that were available were maybe $600 a month, another 600, and one that was $1,200. So if let's just say I'll make up a number, an agent gets a commission with their broker, a 50-50 split. So if it's $600 and there's no other broker involved, the agent would get $300. If it's $1,200 and there's no other broker involved, it would be $600. Meaning that if I'm showing this commercial space that's $1,200 and I found the tenant, in this case, I'd get $600. If agent B, we'll call him Billy, who works at not Weissman, but works at 12 Stones Realty, shout out Avrami, 12 Stones Realty, if he brings someone, that 1,200 becomes 600, becomes 300. So each of the agents will get $300, and that rest of the money is split between the brokers. So the more people involved, the less money you make. In this case, I got a rental that was worth $2,500. They're asking $2,500 a month. So I gave up something which was out of my control. I protected the landlord from having a legal issue. So I put them first. And in return, I got something that was worth double or triple the amount, and I only have to push one property. So those are my 2 stories of the customer's always right. What questions do you guys have or any comments on that? Don't be shy. Or it could be a topic that we discussed earlier that you have questions on.
I have a comment. That was amazing.
And if you're really, really shy, you can post it in the chat and I will read it out for everyone. Okay. No questions. I am shocked. Probably because Joe isn't here. He always asks so many questions. Okay. So, what else? I have a second closing coming up. That's a good story. I don't know if I should share it on here. I'm going to share it. Okay. So I have this property somewhere in Queens. I'm not going to say where because I don't know who's listening. So there's this property in Queens and it was priced for this amount. And then we lowered it to this amount and then this amount and then this amount. And then we started getting a lot of hits, a lot of realtors, a lot of real estate agents wanting to see it. And I started booking appointments. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, 2:30 p.m. Thursday, 2:45 p.m. Friday. Okay, Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Great. You want to show it at that time? I don't care. Here's the lockbox combo. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so I have so many agents coming to see this property. This is actually, I have 2 stories in this story. So story number 1, I have this agent tell me, MJ, I went to the property. There was no sign in front. There were tenants. There were people living inside. I look like a fool to my customers. And I'm like, what was the address? And he confirms it's the address I sent him. I freak out. I called my boss and I'm like, hey, Mark. He says, yeah, MJ, how you doing? I'm like, I just spoke to an agent and he said that there were tenants at property. There are people who are living there and there was no sign. I think we may have a problem. He hangs up the phone. We both go right to Queens because we're freaking out. We don't know if someone broke in, what's going on there. You know, if someone decided to break in and start living there, we have to call the police. Like, we're like, what's going on here? Freaking out. We both get there. Like, we get in front. There's a sign. There's no one there. I type in the lockbox combo. I walk in with my boss and I'm like, any ghosts in here? Any ghosts in here? There. So I called this agent. I said, I don't know what address you typed in. I don't know where you went, but there's a sign up here and there's no one living here. So that was a pretty funny story. I'm glad there wasn't anyone there. But you know, we would have had to call the police. I would have been like, what's going on here? So that was story number one about this specific listing. Okay, so now here's the tricky part. I had an agent who sent in an offer and they sent in a deposit with the offer, and that went to our real estate attorneys. During that time, we got someone who called me and he's like, hey, I have a customer who's interested. And I'm like, I'm letting you know before you show it. We have something like that's in contract, you know, we have something pending, but you're more than welcome to be a backup, which is fine. That's what my broker told me to say, that, you know, you can still show it as a backup. And I said to him, so here's just the information. And he's like, okay. Did anyone give you asking price? My customer is willing to offer asking price. I tell my boss, I'm like, you know, there's a guy willing to offer asking price. Did you sign the document yet? He said, I signed it. I never sent it. Okay. To teach you in real estate, it's not a done deal till it is fully executed. So if I signed it, the last thing I had to do was click send. Without clicking that send, it's not a fully executed contract. So we took in this other offer and we're waiting and seeing what's going on. And I had one of the agents calling me. You, what's going on? I had my offer come in. Well, like, just do this. Well, just make it happen before there's trouble. I was getting threatened by an agent. I'm like, you know, you didn't get it sent back to you fully executed. Like, clearly we're not going to take your offer. But here's the problem. The money was accepted by the law firm and put in an escrow account, which is for it to be held. The law firm gave it to one of their paralegals who put it in this escrow account, not knowing that it wasn't fully executed yet. It was a mistake. So this realtor is calling me, getting so angry and saying, you cashed my customer's money, you know, you have to sign, this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing that. When really, we didn't cash anything. It was put in an escrow account by mistake, and we're returning the money to you. It wasn't fully accepted. You know why? Because the contract wasn't fully executed. It wasn't fully executed. So on this deal, I got them an extra, I'll give a rough number, an extra $10,000. And in addition to it, it was a better type of mortgage with more money down. So it was a better potential customer. So my boss was happy. The partners on the project were happy. So it was extra money that was brought in. And I learned a lot from that situation. It's not a done deal until it's fully executed, period. But that was intense. I was getting threats from this agent before things get bad. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is this guy threatening me? You know, like, don't threaten me. I don't like, and I'm like calling up my broker and I'm saying, I don't like being threatened. I don't like being threatened. I don't want to be in the middle of this. I didn't do anything. I didn't take anybody's money. It's not even my fault. I didn't do anything. That was definitely the story of the week, and do not repeat it at all. Do not let anyone know outside of the DRS Real Estate Club, because this is for learning purposes. And since I only get 35 to 50 views anyways, I'm not so sure that it's going to be like seen by so many people. So I'm not so worried. What questions do you guys have? Talk to me. Come on. Come on.
What makes a contract completely executed?
Dav, your audio isn't working so well, so I highly suggest that everyone types in comments so I can read it out. Okay, so Nadav asked, what makes a contract fully executed? So I have a house for sale. I'm the seller, and there's a buyer coming in. The buyer says, okay, I'm interested. Next, you have the buyer's attorney and you have the seller's attorney who are writing the terms or helping you go back and forth. So the buyer then signs the contract, and then the seller then signs a contract, and then the lawyers look it over, and then, oh, you know what? We need this change, or we need this change, or we need this change. Until it is fully executed, the deal is not done. So you need to have both parties who agree, and there needs to be some form of payment. So in this case that I discussed earlier, there was a form of payment that was put in as a deposit, as an earnest deposit. That means we are going forward with this purchase. So here's a down payment to show that we are committed and it's for us and nobody else. And it's a done deal. So that's what you need in order to have a fully executed contract. Okay, when setting the asking price, what percentage pay the exact asking price? That's a great question. I haven't seen anything go for asking price other than 2 commercial deals that I did. Other than that, if it's priced well, it will sell right away. But there's always flexibility when doing a deal. So if you have something listed, we have something listed in Fairway on Williams Court. It was originally listed at 649, and then no 639 or 649, and then we lowered it to 630, and now it was lowered to 619. And people are very interested at 619. And there's nothing else in the area at that price market. Everything's like 650, 680. So if it came in at 15, we'd probably take it. It's only $4,000 under our current asking. So that was a great question, Mark Burchin. Okay, anyone else have any questions? What I meant to say was, what other questions do you have? Okay, pretty quiet night tonight. Is it common to have bidding wars? Yes. Great question, Mark Burchin. You just saved me there. So if let's just say it's a bank foreclosed property and the bank owns the property and the property is valued at $700,000 and you price it at $300,000, it's going to be get offers that are 320, 350, 400, 500, 550, 600. You may have offers that are 750. So in a bank foreclosed property or a short sale, which we discussed earlier in one of our meetings, you'll have a bidding war when you have investors. Or if you have a hot market of selling real estate in the area, and there is not a lot of inventory. So when inventory is down, prices go up. And when inventory is high and there's a lot, prices go down because it's readily available. So in this case, we're in a market where inventory is down and prices are up. So when prices go down and mortgage rates go down, volume goes up and you have more sales. In that case, which may happen this summer, may happen the next summer, be a lot of sales going on, and people are going to be bidding back and forth because there's so much available. Here, when there's very little available, there still may be bidding wars, but it's outpriced. If a house was worth $700,000, right now people are marking it up to $1 million. Versus if something's worth 700,000 and you price it for 690, you may get 720. So wonderful question, Mark Burchin. Okay. Do I see any other questions? You know, if I just made up a question, nobody would know because they can't see what's on the screen. So, wow, he's really late. Joe Gammerman has a question. So what's Joe's question? No, I'm not going to fly my drone. Oh, okay. Joe's typing. What is he saying? He says, can we always do it at 7:30 for the class? So yeah, great question. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. But now, since it's getting a little bit darker and later out, so I think we may end up going to 7:30, but we will play it by ear. Thanks for joining, Joe. You're a little bit late, but that's fine. He's still typing. What is he writing? Do you see commercial spaces moving more or residential or rentals? Great question, Joe. So for residential sales, it is really, really, really slow. For commercial office spaces, that's fast. Things are not lasting. They're priced very well because in the last few years since COVID, people have been working from home and there's lots of vacancies in commercial. Lots of vacancies, and also in retail, which I've discussed earlier on a different Zoom. So in commercial office spaces and retail locations, prices are so low. Oh my goodness, I'm blown away. But for residential, prices are up here. For rentals, prices are up here. And there's not a lot available. It's priced out, so it's hard to rent something out. It's hard to rent out. I think it's easier to sell a home than to rent something, which is pretty ridiculous, if you ask me. But that was a great question, Joe, and it's really good to have you here, even if you're a few minutes late. Thanks so much for your question. Any other questions other than Nadav, Mark, and Joe? And by the way, Joe is not here. I made up that question myself. Okay, we have 9 minutes left. Have you ever sold a multifamily property plus thoughts on investments in multifamily properties? It's a hot question. Mark, I'm really blown away. So Weissman Realty Group, that's where I work. And the principal, which is the owner and CEO or president, is Mark Weissman. And Mark Weissman specifically deals with multifamily investments out of state. So in the state of New York, it's a tenant's state, which means it is very hard. It is difficult to evict someone out of an apartment. It can take up to 6 months to evict someone, and it's extremely costly. So imagine 6 months of not getting paid from a tenant, and it's not even guaranteed that they'll get kicked out. So we have different, different types of real estate that we're involved in. I'm primarily involved in residential, rentals, purchases, sales, and leases, commercial leases and retail. I don't really do much multifamily, especially out of state. So my boss, Mark, he deals with purchasing 100+ units, Class C. We haven't discussed that yet. Class C is a lower grade than Class B and Class A. So think of Class A being the Ritz-Carlton, expensive, nice, luxurious, and Class C being the old Green Acres Mall, if anyone remembers Green Acres Mall before it was redone. A little bit sketchy, not the best type of crowd. You may want to carry a weapon with you. So that's like Class C. So Class C, 100+ units. So he would take those units. He would then up the rent and bring in new tenants. So they'd make a small, cap rate of return. They try and get a 7 to 8% return. He gets money from different investors, and then he can put it in for this property and purchase it. So he has acquisitions team over here. He has an underwriter who writes up the deal, and then they pay the property management. They have to then figure out crunch all the different numbers to see what's the kind of return that they're going to make. I have never sold a multifamily property, but when I first came to Weiss and Realty, I was doing a lot of data work, or data. Some fancy people call data. So I was doing data work on this multifamily properties, and I'd have to find the true owner. What is the term true owner? It means the person who actually owns the property. It's not the property management, not the executive manager, not the vice president, the true owner, the one who could make that decision to sell it to us. Hi, this is MJ calling from Weiss and Realty Group up in New York. We saw your Class C, or we saw your multifamily property listed on Loop or Net or whatever at 249 Springton Street in Virginia. We actually have a few properties we're going to check out. Is there any chance that you'd be interested in an offer? Would you be open to selling it? Because we have our principal, Mark Weissman, going down there. We wanted to make an appointment because we think we can give you an offer that you may like. And that's how it goes. And then my boss or one of the acquisitions guys would go down to those locations, whether it's in Virginia or it's in Alabama or wherever, in Florida, and would go down and do a walkthrough of the entire property, check it out, see how the facilities look, see what they could improve, and then bump the rent up to. So I hope that answers your question, Mark. 5-minute warning. We have 5 minutes left. What questions do you guys have? We got 5 minutes left. We can discuss next week's topics. You can put them in the chat for maybe different topics you may want me to focus on for next week, unless we have an off week. So feel free to type below. Okay, topic section 8. How do you even know what section 8 is? Did I ever bring up section 8, Mark? How do you even know what that is? Who's been teaching you real estate? Who's been teaching you? What have you been reading? So section 8 versus regular multifamily homes and apartments. I'm gonna just clarify that a little bit, because those are okay. Section 8 is a voucher program. So there's section 8, there's city FEPs, there's veterans programs, there's housing authority, HHSA, housing, I think it's HHSA. So there's different types of voucher programs, which means the government pays for this tenant to live there. And sometimes it includes the utilities, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's bonuses that they give the landlord. In cases of, let's say, city FEPS voucher, the government pays the brokerage 15% of the annual rent, which is much better than a 1 month deal, a 1 month commission, which is what you normally get from a rental. I actually have a city FEPS customer who is in a shelter, so they're really fast paced. They want to get this person out of the shelter, and that's for my Bayswater apartment. And now we are just waiting for the checks. So everything's good to go. The sign is actually getting removed, and the landlord is getting 6 months up front, which is phenomenal. And we're getting 15% of the annual, which is great also. So my boss seemed pretty pleased that I'm making him some money. So there's different vouchers. Mark, beautiful, beautiful job. Do you want to teach the next class? Because you know probably as much as I do. Wow, Section 8. Wow. Shocked that I'm being asked these questions. Keep shocking me, guys. Keep it up. I'm really, really impressed. Thanks again so much for your consistency, for wanting to learn. I'm only as good as the students. So you guys are pretty great, which means I'm pretty great too. Okay. So for next week, I guess we'll discuss in the WhatsApp chat what topics we'll do. We'll do some sort of poll again. So give you guys a round of applause. Good job. Thanks for paying attention, for asking great questions. And I definitely think that if Joe misses one more meeting, Nadav should be the president, and he will get that crown. And all those in favor, say aye. Yeah, Nadav, I knew it. I knew it. So again, for those who missed this Zoom, you could check it out shortly. Nadav has this recorded, so he's going to send it back to me, and I'm going to hopefully upload by tonight on my YouTube channel. What question? Topic F. Are you kidding me, man? This guy, Mark Burchin, this guy doesn't stop. Okay, but you can check out the YouTube channel that I have, MJ Realtor 365, to see this video and many more. So Mark had a question, FHA loan investments. So that was the type of loan in which the Queens property, the first offer had, which is a bad type of loan. Maybe next week we'll get into why. Thanks again so much for joining. And until next time, thank you so much.
Thanks, MJ.
Thank you.